Well, I decided I might as well just get this out the way. I was trying to find a quieter place, but like now, once you decide that you want to publish or you're trying to get your name out there, it's like everyone wants to be in pictures. Well, let's just get to it. My new series I'm going to start soon. I'm going to call it 55 and I'd be like 51 and beyond. Yeah, let me give you a little background. Last year, I finally decided to sell my house of 11 years. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in Yucca Valley. Bought it back in 2007, and it was on an acre and a half. And I just bought it because I was just living in an apartment, and I said I just need a place a little bit quieter. So I was there for about 11 years. It was fine, and then my neighbor, the 2007, when I bought it in 2007, that was also the year of the Great Recession of 2007, 2008, where my neighbor who was in the military got cut back, and he and his wife ended up moving to Okinawa. So for the past 11, almost, geez, you know what, almost for the past 9 years, the neighbor has been trying to rent out his house. And I've had like neighbors, just different neighbors in for like 9 years who would rent the house and move out because they never wanted to sell the house. Well, I've stayed in my house for about 11 years, and the only issue I had really was trying to maintain the plumbing because where I'm at, it's like it gets extremely hot or it gets extremely cold. So I decided last year, I'll move back to the big city, but there was a 2-month lag between when I could get my apartment. So basically, I was a homeless person with a full-time job for about 2 months. Stayed at Motel 6, stayed at friends' houses. Also, like I went high class. I stayed at the Best Western. So I did that until I moved into this apartment in September of last year. And I decided I would take a 6-month leave because I said, I just don't know. After living in a big house for like so long, and also living out in basically nowhere, just like where you have the militia and stuff, and just dealing with the coyotes. I said, I don't know if I'd be able to deal with people in an apartment, and of course I was right. Because when I was younger, people like there'd only be 1 or 2 people to an apartment. Well, I moved into this complex. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. I found out there's 5 and 6 people staying in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. And when I was younger, like people used to talk about people who did that. Like it was mostly Hispanics. Let's get to during my time, because I'm 51. Mostly Hispanics, immigrants who just came into the country, black people who only lived like really squashed up. Now, come back 2019, had a couple, have like a wife, a husband, and 3 kids in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. And next door to them, 2 husband, wife, 3 kids, 2-bedroom, 2-bath house, a townhouse. It's an apartment complex, basically upstairs, downstairs apartments. They call them townhouses for some reason. I don't know why. And I think in the next one, I have a son, mom, grandmother, and 2 other adults and a baby. So about 6 people living in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. So I was like, wow, man, is this how it goes then? And then behind me, there's like the apartment complex borders a house. There's a bunch of houses behind us. And then there's always the dog. When the owner puts the dog out to go to the restroom, the dog always barks. So you have that. And then across the street, I have a dog in an apartment complex that's totally not mine that barks all the time. So I went from living in a house on an acre and a half where I only had to deal with coyotes to living in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom townhouse where I had a whole bunch of trying to adjust to being around people. I'm not doing a very good job lately. So I decided, I think I need to make a move. I'm spending almost $2,100 and it's not working for me. Let me just say, it's not working for me. So I decided, I found this one apartment complex that was being built. I went and talked to the person, and she said, yeah, you probably have to wait another month or so, but then this place will be open, and you can get a brand new apartment with bedroom, new tile, new everything. So I said, okay, I gave her $150. So as of this October, I'll be moving in there. So that'll be my new adventures. And reason why I'm calling this 51 and beyond is because, well, for probably the last 5 years, I would been dealing, had to bury the grandmother. So I know how it is. You have to deal with the depression of burying a relative. Then on top of that, I had to deal with a bunch of probate issues because the trust form we thought was filled out properly was not filled out properly, and it was our fault because we had a friend of the family that was supposed to be some type of paralegal, and I take full responsibility. We listened to her for some reason, and she really just screwed us over, so that ended up costing me money because my grandmother didn't want to leave the house to her son, who was a drug addict. So that ended up costing me about $14,000 to $20,000 in lawyer fees over 2 or 3 year period. But it was either that or risk having a son who's a drug addict move into the house, which I was dumb enough and let him move into the house anyway because I said, hey, you know what? Hey, if you could just give me $150 worth of rent, maintain like a house that you grew up in as a youngin, that hey, maybe like things will go well and I'll just give the house to you. That was a disaster. And then also there's a friend of the family who moved into the house when my grandmother was getting sick, supposedly helping out. Basically was a squatter. So she moved in there too. And then I thought, hey, together, if you guys give me $300, you'll pay me. They pay me, I can pay the rent, maintain the place, and we can keep Miss Diggs's house like your childhood house. Of course, neither one of them paid. The house ended up going into foreclosures. None of the taxes were paid. So after paying $2,327 to get the house out of probate, I decided to kick him out, kept her around for a few more months, then eventually I sold the house as an investment. Mostly I was just at my house in Yucca Valley for the past 3 years after you deal with burying the relatives, you're done with all the legal bills, and you're just done. You're done taking care of the property that was already run down, but you're dealing with idiots in the house, the apartment that you're living, the place that you're living in. So I recovered, and then my house was fine, but then I was having problems with the leaking sprinkler line because you're in a desert area, so you got to have special sprinkler lines, and I could never get anyone to repair it. It'd be like $1,000. I had to spend like almost $500 over a 2 day period to get this thing fixed, and that was with helping a person out. So I sold my house. So then I transitioned from that into a two bedroom townhouse, and like to try to like, so it's like almost getting out of jail, man. Moving from a house on a big, like an acre and a half, and then I'm coming to an apartment dealing with people and kids, and it's sad. You just see like kids just hollering. And this is what happens when kids raise kids. They just have no concept of, I guess here comes my old man rant. This is what happens when kids raise kids, but they have no concept of like responsibility or self-control. And that means their kids that are outside hollering will be the next generation. But the only difference between my generation and the generation next is California's instituting rent control. You know what that means? You're going to have more homeless people out there. I've lived in San Francisco. There's no such thing as a free ride. It's like almost socialism. So basically what you're saying is you're forcing me, for me making more money and saving money, you're going to minimize the rent and keep a person in a place they really can't afford if you didn't have this type of salary cap. It was probably basically idiot, or just they shouldn't even be there. They're in a place that they shouldn't be at, and you're forcing them to stay there because they think they're getting their rent cheap, so they can tell people they're getting rent control, and that can be burdensome to the people who are making money because they're gonna move in, be paying like twice as much. It's just like there's a rent control just disaster. So as I move into my new place, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm gonna reset on life. I mean, this whole year have experienced pain, like in my lower regions. I spent more time in the hospital I think I've been 4 to 5 times in the hospital this year than I have in the last 5 or 6 years. And I said, okay, this is my new series, 51 and Beyond. Because my goal, I'm going to raise an extra $10,000 a month from a second job. As you know, like I paid down I'll be like a 50-year-old guy who pays off his student loan at 53. And then I say, hey, back in 2019, I got my student loan down to $38,000 from when it was above $94,000. And now that it's paid off, let me show you how to pay off your student loan so you don't leave a burden for your kids, or just pay off your student loan so you don't leave a burden for like your significant other, because maybe if you pass away, it goes to your wife. Or why don't I help you pay off your student loan? You just don't leave a burden to society and at least pay most of it off. So at least if I do die, he's like, man, at least the brother did cover $68,000. He didn't leave a total $94,000. So he's a deadbeat, but not a Welch. So, and as I head off, like, so now I'm just getting ready to move into the new apartment. Everything's new. As you know, I'm a person who loves clean bathrooms. That's why I stayed in my house so long in Yucca Valley. I had 2 bathrooms. Everything was great. And I kept the bathrooms clean because that's all I care about. Because you can listen to my other recordings where I talked about how I grew up with Hogg, that was my grandfather, and Miss Diggs, and how their house was built back in the 1950s and everything was always falling apart. And I hated the bathroom. I hated this. This is before the days of home renovation. I mean, I used to say like the dogs live better than the humans. The dog could sleep under the porch, sleep under the avocado tree, or they can sleep in their doghouse. Well, us humans, where there's at least 5 of us in my grandmother's house, we had to squash in, and Hogg and I would sleep on our pull-out mattress thing, which we'll talk about later. But I think I like my new series. What do you think? 51 and Beyond. Let's see if I can't break the $1 million barrier. And let's just see if I can have a place with a clean bathroom with no... And I know I'm transitioning from barking dogs to horny guys and horny women, but hey, let me just try to keep up with these young people rather than the barking dogs, than the kids next door with the neighbor, like they're getting killed. So let's see, 51 and Beyond. What do you think? Comment. And let's see if we can't get these views up to at least 10. You guys have gotten some good content, especially if you've listened to my series, like when I was talking about Escape from My Apartment, when I talked about how I had a student loan above $94,000 to $38,000. So I want you guys to go give me some views, give me some referrals. Let's see what we can do, man. You know, I got to get this loan paid off. I'm moving into a new apartment. So let me give you some good content. So when you're 40, you can have your student loan paid off instead of like me paying it off at 54. Or I teach you how to sell your house faster so you get into a brand new built apartment with a totally brand new bathroom. Later.